Park Bo-gum secretly holds Kim Yoo-jung's hand. So natural it feels like habit. Replay the clip we teased at the very start of the video. That tiny, otherwise ordinary moment that somehow made an entire awards season feel like a slow-burning rom-com scene. If you love the addictive little beats that turn celebrity footage into fandom lore, a glance, a pause, a palm finding a palm, then settle in. What follows is a long, curious, and mildly mischievous breakdown of how a brief handhold at AAA 2025 turned into the night's most replayed emotional nugget. For fans who live for frame-by-frame analysis, BIS, Asian Star Spotlight, has been curating every angle, zoom, and edit, the slow-mo replays that let you watch a second feel like a lifetime. Their compilations show why that moment landed. Context, history, timing, and that uncanny sense that two people were communicating with a private vocabulary that needed no words. This article walks through the scene, the aftermath, the fan reaction, and why that little gesture felt so rich. Scene set. AAA 2025, Taiwan. The venue buzzed with lights and applause. Awards were handed out, fans cheered, cameras clicked, and in a quieter corner of the VIP seating area, a short interaction unfolded that wasn't meant to be a headline but became one anyway. In the supplied fan shot image and in the circulating clip, you can see the moment play like a tiny, perfectly directed tableau. Park Bo-gum, composed and gentlemanly in a crisp suit, subtly raises a hand as if expecting someone to rest theirs there. Kim Yoo-jung, approaching with that soft, familiar poise, naturally places her hand into his. For anyone watching, the effect was immediate. Thousands of hearts collectively melted. What makes this more than just a polite gesture? It's the texture. The motion wasn't dramatic, staged, or exaggerated. It was the sort of small, choreographed-seeming instinct that comes from long familiarity. It looked like muscle memory. As if both of them had done this before, not for cameras but because it felt right. Yoo-jung's hand met his without fuss. His smile, the sort that seems to brighten only in her presence, answered back, and the hall filled with whoops and delighted gasps. Fans jokingly dubbed it the strongest hint of AAA 2025. And for good reason. A short, private-looking exchange became a public moment of sweetness. The clip didn't exist in a vacuum. Fans immediately pointed to a handful of supporting beats from the evening. Small acts of care, like him handing her a drink with attentive timing, a selfie taken with a gentle ease, and earlier public interactions that suggested a low-key shorthand between them. Put together, those moments read like repeated lines in an unspoken script, an accumulation of gestures that make a single handhold feel like the latest chapter in a long-running story. That's why fans didn't see a random touch. They read connection. Let's talk about the signal and response because fans went to work analyzing it. After the handhold, Yoo-jung sat down beside him and made a tiny playful gesture. A finger to her lips, a private cue that looked like a sure or an amused not now. And Bo-gum's smile seemed to say he understood it perfectly. That private signal sent the fandom into a frenzy of speculation and affectionate giggling. Was it coyness? A boundary? A flirtatious play? Fans decided it was all three at once, and remixed the moment into dozens of edits that stitched their own little narratives. Why did so many people across Asia and beyond react the same way? Partly because this pairing carries history. Their on-screen collaboration years ago created emotional shorthand among viewers. Love in the Moonlight left an imprint that turns public reunions into nostalgic callbacks. When two performers who once inhabited lovers on screen meet again in real life, the audience often watches for echoes. A look that lingers, a gesture that repeats, a rhythm in conversation that feels familiar. This handhold looked like one of those echoes. Comfortable, warm, and loaded with a lifetime of shared shorthand. Of course, online communities did what they do best. Celebrate, theorize, and meme. Hashtags and reactions trended. Edits slowed the moment into syrupy sweetness, and international fans weighed in with translations, reaction videos, and appreciative threads. Some teasing comments read, "If this isn't a hint, then what is?" While others kept their feet on the ground and said, Enjoy the cuteness, don't jump to conclusions. The spectrum of reactions, from giddy speculation to cautious admiration, is part of why the moment sustained its heat for days. A careful eye notices the micro details that made the handhold feel significant. The timing. He raised his hand without looking like he was posing. It was a natural gesture that matched her approach. The ease. She placed her hand without hesitation. The follow-through. Their body language afterward. The tilt of a head, the soft smile, the way they seemed to share an inside beat, all reinforced the impression of mutual comfort. For many fans, the composite image of multiple small acts of attention over time is more compelling than any single clip. The image you supplied, candid and slightly blurred, helped sell the authenticity. Because it wasn't a staged portrait, the moment kept a private to public quality, intimate enough to feel personal, public enough to spark conversation. That tension, caught between an unguarded instant and a room full of onlookers, is what gives award night micro-moments their emotional charge. And then there's the delightful aftermath in the fandom. Edits, playlists, reaction breakdowns, and the inevitable pleas for a reunion project. Fans are already drafting petitions and fan-casting their dream comeback, the usual joyful machinery that follows any memorable reunion. Many comments expressed a single persistent wish. Please give them another project together. Whether that day comes or not, moments like this keep the possibility alive in the hearts of viewers. So what's the takeaway? Tiny gestures can feel enormous. A hand held for a second can read like a paragraph of unspoken history when layered with context, timing, and past collaborations. That's the magic of these micro-moments. They compress years of shared experience into a heartbeat, and if you're paying attention, you can almost hear an entire conversation in the silence. If you enjoyed reliving that beat, the hand lifted, the fingers intertwined, the private smile exchanged, don't forget to check out Asian Star Spotlight. For the slow-mo versions, the multi-angle breakdowns, and the affectionate commentary that lets fans savor every frame. Whether you prefer to interpret the scene as warm friendship, long-standing affection, or the opening notes of a new chapter, the moment itself is undeniably lovely, discreet, natural, and telling. In the end, perhaps the sweetest conclusion is the simplest. Two people who work together, who remember each other, and who respond without hesitation when a little steadiness is needed. That is a rare and tender thing. Call it habit, comfort, or chemistry. Whatever the label, it made thousands of viewers smile, press replay, and feel a tiny rush of hopeful delight.